Are we getting a Bullet Club reunion in AEW, or are we getting a Generation Me return to Impact Wrestling? I don't know, but I am Oli Davis. I'm joined by Luke Owen. We will be reviewing AEW Fyter Fest Night 1. Sorry, I didn't say it right. AEW Fyter Fest Night 1 very shortly, but first, we're going to talk about a very interesting tweet that I've already seen one person reply to. Can't wait to see the speculative headlines on this one, which is Karl Anderson, the released back in mid-April member of the OC, along with Luke Gallows and Anderson, formerly of New Japan, formerly of the Bullet Club. Earlier this week, they were reportedly confirmed to have signed with Impact Wrestling in a deal that includes them also being able to work for New Japan when that is available to do so. And here I see, on July the 1st, yesterday, at 6:50 p.m., shortly before Fyter Fest, a photo of Gallows, Anderson, and the Young Bucks in what seems to be a hotel room / conference center room.
And it wasn't just Karl Anderson that tweeted it. The Bucks account also tweeted out this same photo as well.
So, speculation and mania run wild. These are two free agents. I would have assumed that the Impact deal that they signed earlier this week on Monday, apparently, would have meant they cannot wrestle for other North American promotions. However, that wasn't really how Impact were doing things before lockdown. They were actually being very open, saying, come and work for us, and you can still wrestle for Ring of Honor, wrestle for AEW, wrestle for New Japan. It's more the other promotions' problems that they don't want their wrestlers appearing for other promotions in North America. So could we see the first ever AEW, Impact, and New Japan tag team here?
I think it's completely possible. I think that it is certainly not without question that we will see the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Karl Anderson in AEW at some point, because the connections are just there. Let's be honest. This photo was tweeted out to work the marks, and look at us as marks here getting worked, and that's fine. That's kind of a wonderful attitude to take, really. They put this up so that we can get excited and start speculating, so let's get excited and speculate away. And I think we could certainly see Good Brothers in AEW as well as Impact. It depends on really how long they're going to be in Impact for. Are they signing with them full time? Is it just for a certain number of shows? Is it just until the restrictions are lifted and they can go over to New Japan? We don't really know what the sort of the deals are that are in place for them.
Yeah, I think right now it wouldn't be a shrewd business move to lock yourself up for a multi-year deal, unless you're with WWE, in which that seems to be the only style of contract they offer, multi-years. For everyone else, even before lockdown, the aim of the game was to play all of these major promotions off each other to increase your own worth. And the Good Brothers are quite famously good at doing that. Just last April or July time, actually, they got massive deals out of WWE for multi-years because they played them off the threat of going to AEW. But then WWE went and released them. So I think this is it's definitely very possible. Should it happen? I think is another question.
That's what I was going to ask, because one of the victims, I feel, on this episode of Fyter Fest, or the night 1 of Fyter Fest, was Santana and Ortiz. For a team that are one of the best tag teams on the planet, they feel like not even third, fourth, fifth wheel. They feel so unimportant in AEW because we've been saying over the last few weeks, crikey, what a stacked tag division they've got. There's almost too many good teams. Yeah, and actually, there are too many good teams in AEW, and you can't all be pushed at the same time. We talked about Gianna Perazzo choosing to go to Impact over AEW, and I said I probably would have made the same choice because they're treating their women's division brilliantly, and over in AEW, you're not really getting a whole lot. If you're Gallows and Anderson, and you're looking at that stacked tag division, what are you looking like? Where do we slot in here? Like there's too many big fish in this pond. We could go to Impact where we can be the big fish, or go to New Japan where we can be the big fish, and just not get lost in the shuffle, which is what happened to them in WWE.
Yeah, getting lost in the shuffle is one of the main things here. Not just in a very deep tag division, but also during a time when there are too many debuts or returns or whatever. I don't know about you, but back in the day, if I ever got a big load of birthday money from my nan and granddad, along with my mum and dad, I would go down and I would just splurge on 2 to 3 video games. But I would only ever play one of those video games. Even though I want them all, even though I bought them all, 2 would become the runts, because my brain, and I would argue our collective fan base consciousness, can only really deal with treating a big star debuting every 3 months.
Yeah, and I think AEW could probably do with one under their belt. Like I feel like we haven't had a big debut in AEW since Moxley, like in Double or Nothing last year, because every other debut they've tried to do, Luther did not really go down particularly well. Butcher and Blade didn't particularly go down very well. Actually, on the same show, Smash Brothers, Dark Order didn't go down particularly well. So I feel like they could do with like a big name. Brian Cage, I think, is probably the best one they've had thus far, like outside of Moxley. So maybe they could do with it, but at the same time, if Impact are going to be doing loads of big debuts at Slammiversary, is they're going to get lost in the news cycle that AEW also have some of the ex-WWE guys showing up.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, we should also mention, of course, Brody Lee and Matt Hardy were really cool. They came on the same show, though, and it was without fans. Unfortunately, they weren't home runs. That's kind of nobody's fault, though. FTR, that was a really cool debut, but I wouldn't say it was, of the level as some debuts and returns in WWE have been. It'll be another. You don't want to have the stigma of being the promotion where all of WWE's cast-offs go. Like
they've already got that. Like there is a certain group of fans that already think that's what AEW is. They don't call them TNA 2.0 for a reason.
Well, let's see what your super chats have to say.
You're right back there.
Well, that's my lady partner, or my partner rather. She didn't have lunch in time, so she's preparing lunch right now, aren't you? Yeah, she is, and she's making too much noise, isn't she? Yes. I'm only kidding. She dropped some scissors. Are you okay?
Well, it's good.
Yeah. She's okay.
It sounded bigger than scissors. It sounded like she dropped a whole rack from the oven.
She's attention seeking. Don't play into it.